and we're so happy that she came to chat with us today. So thank you for being here, Kristen.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's always nice to be here.
So you have been working in African missions for over 2 decades. So tell us a little bit how you got initially involved in missions and kind of what you're doing now.
I started out actually as a career move. I graduated from college. I was too young and didn't have enough experience, so I thought, let me go on a 2-year short term and I'll get older and I'll get more experience. And during that time, I met people who had never heard the name of Jesus Christ, and I was exposed to AIDS orphans and other, just other intense needs. And it was at that time I really felt like God changed my my heart, my career path towards full-time missions.
And how did you know Africa? How did you feel God leading you towards Africa specifically? I know, right? Okay. How did you know Africa was where you were being called? Was there anything you can remember?
Well, I mean, Africa is just amazing in itself. So it's beautiful, the people are lovely, and that in itself was very attractive. But I also feel like God uses what we like, and I tend to like warm weather. So the equator was quite a nice place to be. I wasn't freezing, and yeah, I just felt comfortable there. I felt at home there, and He opened doors for me to serve there.
Awesome. What were some of maybe the unexpected challenges that you encountered maybe on your first mission, maybe you wish you would have known before you'd gone, and what were some of the blessings that you didn't expect?
I think one thing that we don't realize is how lonely you can be. You can be surrounded by people, and you still can feel very isolated and lonely on the mission field. The other thing is guilt, and I don't really struggle with guilt anymore, but I struggle with me having and a lot of people that I work with not having. And especially when I was younger, I tended to feel like guilty that I had a lot and that I knew where my next meal was coming from. I knew that if anything happened to me, I would be rescued, or taken care of. And realizing that the people I was with didn't have that, it still really tears at my heart today, to see people in intense poverty and to be able to live a comfortable life myself.
Yeah. What were some of the blessings you remember from that first time?
The blessings were definitely relationship. I still have friends from the early 90s in Kenya, and I'm in touch with the people I worked with in Tanzania in the late 90s. And yeah, the relationships are very strong. And I also got to see God move in ways that, coming out of the American church and being young, fire stop, or just the intense spiritual battle, but His intense presence and power.
Wow. Now you've been with Dwelling Places for how long now?
I was with them 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're transitioning out of your role that you've had there a little bit. So tell us about the new things you're doing in Uganda and then your new work with Africa Inland Mission.
Well, because I've been at Dwelling Places for so long, my heart, I feel like I'll never leave there, but I'm not in the office anymore. I still go out and see the kids as often as I can when I'm in town, but now most of the kids that we were working with came from a village area called Karamoja, which is in the northeast of Uganda, and it's a very rural area. I saw the need for those families and children, once they went back home after being on the streets, just to have more spiritual input in their lives and also some physical support, health-wise and development-wise. And I thought it would be a good idea to partner with the church up there. There's a small local church, and teach the women in the church community health evangelism, which is basically doing a simple health lesson or a simple development lesson and pairing it with a Bible lesson, and then letting the women in the church go and be in the homes of children who have been resettled. And that way the church is empowered to do the job, so people aren't depending on a nonprofit organization or a missionary to do it, but the church is able to meet the needs of the needy in their community.
Okay. And what does that mean for you? So you're kind of traveling about. How does that work, like home situation for you while you're out and about?
It's definitely the village again, and I'm up there most of the time. I come back every few weeks for a break at my house in Kampala, and I try to walk. I drive my car up there, and I have my car there. I stay with a retired reverend and his family, so the compound has a bush fence around it with thorns, huge thorns, and so I feel fairly safe. And I try, just so the women can do the health when I'm gone, I try to walk so that they don't say, well, we don't have a car, so we can't do it. Mm-hmm. So I try to walk as much as I can, or bike.
Yeah. We've met and talked, and one of the things Kristen mentioned was this time when she goes back to Uganda, needing some camping supplies and some like solar supplies, things that would help you kind of while you're out in the field. So she has put together an Amazon wish list, and we weren't able to have it available for you today, but if you go and see her after service today, you can give her your email. She can send that list to you, and you can help send her back to Uganda with all the supplies that she needs.
I really appreciate that. It was kind of fun to do. It's the first time I've ever done it. It's kind of exciting just to partner with people and know that when I'm able to charge my phone with a solar panel, I know that someone gave me that solar panel, and I'm like, thank you.
Yeah,
it's kind of fun.
My husband and I are already excited. We're like, let's go pick something off the list and send her back. So she has all the stuff that she needs. Now, tell us about your work with Africa Inland Mission.
So currently I've been, because my parents are getting older, I felt the need to be in the States more. And so I've been able now to be in Uganda about 6 or 7 months out of the year, and to work for our mission January through May, and do church mobilization and recruit new missionaries. The harvest is very ready, and we need people. We need people that are active in the U.S., leading people to Christ, but there's also there are millions who have no opportunity to hear the name of Jesus Christ, and I just feel like it's really important for people to know that and to be able to respond to that.
Yeah. What advice would you give to someone who's interested in missions on ways that they could prepare? Are there skills they should look for, education, pitfalls that they should look out for? What advice do you have for them?
I think one of the biggest things is that people are in the Word and have a very active prayer life, because if you don't have that basis starting off, it doesn't matter how educated you are in missions or how much you know about church planning strategies or things like that, but you have to be rooted and grounded in the Word and in the Word constantly. Otherwise, you'll just be eaten alive out there. There is a course called the Perspectives course, and I would definitely recommend taking that course. Your church could even host it. You wouldn't have to run it, but your church could host it. And that is an excellent course that just gives an overall view of missions today.
Yeah, I've actually been through Perspectives, and I absolutely loved it. That was a phenomenal course. What are some ways that the church can pray for you?
I think the biggest thing right now is this transition of, usually I was in Africa full time, and so now kind of going back and forth, even though the the periods of time are longer. It's a big transition. I'm doing a lot of traveling now, and that gets tiring. You know, I don't feel like I'm at home, and then I'm trying to spend a lot of time with my parents. And I found that to just be very stressful, seeing them get older and making those decisions, you know, how to help them live well. And yeah, it's just really hard. I feel like I need to be with them a lot, but I still have responsibilities. And so with transition and stress, I think, you know, that'd be the best.
Okay. And if people want to support you financially, they can obviously do that, right? Like would they do that through African Inland Mission or through Dwelling Places?
It would be through Africa Inland Mission, and I'll be at the table in between services, and so people can stop by and say, hey, pick up a prayer card. There is one card out there that's really nice in the shape of Africa, and it has like 20 ways to pray for missionaries. So it looks nice, but it's also just a help of, wow, how do we really pray for our missionaries and know how to support them? So,
yeah. Can you share any stories from your time in the mission field of just ways you've seen God move?
That would take both services,
Maybe just
and I don't
just
know
one
if
or
the
two.
pastor would appreciate that, but I think the biggest thing, one is that God has placed in everyone this void that he desires to fill. And when I worked with the tribe in Tanzania, the Wataturu, they knew that there was a God. They believed in a God, and they believed that you had to sacrifice in order to communicate with him. So if they wanted to talk to God, they would kill an animal, and then they would be able to talk to him. And when we went there to live, these people had not heard of Jesus before. We're like, wow, you're actually right. But you know what? God has a son. His name is Jesus. And you don't have to kill an animal every time you want to talk to him, because Jesus was the once and for all sacrifice. And I was so amazed, because I'm like, wow, God, you had this planned ahead of time. You know, like you really know, as if you really know what you're doing. And that to me was really exciting, because I feel like he's paved the way. So when we're responding, whether it's here in the States or abroad, to share him with other people, he has prepared a path, and they will come to it when he has decided that they will respond.
That's amazing. I love hearing those stories of how God he's already made a way. That's just amazing. So I think they're going to come up and pray for you.
Like 1 minute, but I can start now. All right. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Kristen, for telling us about your ministry, and we'd love to pray over you right now and just bless you. So everyone, if you would like to just join me in praying over Kristen, that would be wonderful. Lord, thank you so much for this woman, and we just lift her up to you in her ministry, and we just pray that you protect her through every transition that she makes, and that you just give her a sound mind and a peace that only she can receive from you, Lord, that she put all of her trust in you. And